Hi. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining how you can transfer digital music files to cassette. Now, I'm sure many of you realize that the cassette has been experiencing a real comeback lately, and I'm sure many of you out there are discovering cassette for the first time. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining very easily how you can transfer music from your digital device, such as a cell phone, tablet, that sort of thing, and put those songs on cassette. Now, really, there's only two things that you have to worry about, and I'm going to break this video into two sections. Section number one, I like to call outputs, inputs, and connections. And section number two, I'm going to call recording level. If you understand both of those steps, you will have absolutely no problem at all transferring your files to cassette. So let's get started with outputs, inputs, and connections. Really, the first thing you have to understand is that the music is coming out of one device and going in to another device. For example, a tape recorder. So for example, your music is going to be coming out of your smartphone, cell phone, tablet, whatever it may be, and going in to a tape recorder. So that's what I mean by outputs and inputs. And really, you have to have the right connection. And once you have the right cable, the right connection that you can connect your digital device to a tape recorder, that's the main obstacle. Once you have that taken care of, you're pretty much good to go. It's pretty much downhill from there. Now, more than likely, the connection you will need is a headphone to headphone jack, which you can see on the screen right now. This is also called a 1/8 inch to 1/8 inch jack, and it's also sometimes referred to as a 3.5 millimeter to a 3.5 millimeter cable. So again, it all depends on the connection coming out of your device and going into the tape deck. Or you might need this cable that you see on the screen right now, which is a headphone jack to two RCA jacks. And this is more for if you have an old school tape deck, chances are good that on the back of the tape deck, there's two RCA inputs, one for the left and one for the right. Now again, as I mentioned, once you have everything connected, it's basically time to record. So figuring out the right connections, the right outputs, the right inputs, and the right cable, once you've got that figured out and once you have everything connected, you're good to go. And I should also mention too, on the subject of RCA cables, in many cases, the cables are white and red. And the white is left and the red is right. So please keep that in mind. Sometimes the RCA cables are black and red, and in that case, black would be left, red would be right. Okay, so we've talked about outputs, inputs, and connections. You've got your digital device all hooked up to your tape deck. Now we're going to talk about recording level. Now basically, the first thing you have to do is to put your tape deck into record mode. And you simply do this by pressing pause and record at the same time. Most tape recorders allow you to do this. If by some chance you have a tape recorder that doesn't have pause, just hit record and you'll be in record mode. You can always go back later and tape over any recording tests that you do. Now, if you have a VU meter or some kind of recording level indicator, this is very, very easy. Now, your recording level might look like this, it might look like this, and it might even look like this. There's many different types of recording level indicators. Now, if your signal is too faint, the recording will be too quiet. So as you can see on your screen right now, you see the level is, the light isn't going up very far. That means your recording is going to be too faint. On the other end, as you can see now, the light is going way over to the right. It's very, very red. As we used to say back in the day, it's in the red. That is too loud, or sometimes we say it's too hot of a signal. And if your recording is like this, it's just going to sound terrible. It will sound very, very distorted. What you want your record level to look something like this, just kind of starting to go into the red, but not too far into the red and not too far below the red. You want it just around this sort of level. And I will also show you if, for example, you have a tape recorder with a light on it. For example, you see this little realistic handheld recorder that I'm showing you right now. There's no record level meter per se, but there is a little red light. And as you can see, as I'm inputting the signal and as I'm recording, the light is flashing to indicate the record level. And of course, if the light is solid red, that would mean the signal is way too loud. If it wasn't lighting up at all, that would mean it's way too quiet. So again, there's a lot of different ways of monitoring the recording level. Now, if you have a really old shoebox tape recorder, like the one you see here, and there's no recording level indicator on it whatsoever, it's basically just going to be a case of trial and error. That is, you'll have to do a bunch of tests, playing with the volume of the digital device and trying different volume settings. And again, listen to the recording. If it's too quiet, turn up the volume on the digital device. If it's way too loud, turn down the volume. Again, you might have to try it a few times until you get the level just right. So again, a lot of trial and error. So again, do a test, see how it turned out, adjust the level, try again, and hit record and keep trying until it sounds right. Also, another thing I will mention, if you're new to tape recording, there are different types of cassette. And really, the two most common types of cassette are normal bias and chrome bias. And normal bias cassettes are fine if you're just recording your voice or recording something that's really not that important. Normal bias cassettes are fine. But I find that chrome cassettes are so much better. The recordings are so much more clear and crisp. The fidelity overall is just much, much better than a normal bias cassette. So if you're making copies of music, especially copies of digital files, I would highly recommend that you use a chrome cassette as opposed to a normal bias cassette. So there you have it. Basically, as I said, once you get your connection correct, you have the right cable connecting the digital source to the tape recorder, and once you figure out the recording level, you're good to go. And that's basically how you can record anything from a digital source, smartphone, tablet, whatever, to a tape recorder. Have fun, good luck, let me know how you made out, leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, and as always, please subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every week, and it won't cost you anything. There's no obligation on your behalf, but every time someone subscribes, it really helps my channel grow. Thank you very much. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.